There's a button in your Acura that most owners never press. It doesn't have a label that makes it obvious. It's not in the owner's manual under Computer Reset. And your dealership definitely doesn't advertise it, because every time your check engine light comes on and you don't know about this button, they charge you $150 for a diagnostic visit. But this button, combined with a specific sequence, resets your Acura's main computer instantly. And when that computer has been running with old, outdated data, confused sensor readings, or corrupted adaptive values, resetting it can fix problems that seem expensive but are actually free to solve. I'm talking about rough idle that appeared out of nowhere, sluggish throttle response, transmission that suddenly shifts differently than it used to, fuel economy that dropped for no obvious reason, check engine lights that came back after being cleared. All of these can be caused by a computer that needs to be reset and relearned, and all of them can potentially be fixed in under 5 minutes without spending a dollar. Today, I'm showing you exactly where this button is, how to use it correctly, what happens when you do, and which specific problems it fixes on Acura engines. This is one of the most useful things you'll ever learn about your car. Let's get into it. What your Acura's computer actually does. Before we talk about the reset, you need to understand what you're actually resetting. Your Acura has multiple computers called electronic control units, or ECUs, running constantly in the background. The main one is the engine control module, or ECM. This is the brain of your engine. It receives data from dozens of sensors: oxygen sensors, mass airflow sensors, throttle position sensors, coolant temperature sensors, crank position sensors, and more. Based on that data, it makes thousands of calculations per second to determine how much fuel to inject, when exactly to fire each spark plug, when to open and close variable valve timing actuators, how to manage boost pressure on turbocharged engines, when to engage and disengage the torquing converter, how to manage idle speed. But here's what most people don't know. Your ECM doesn't just use live sensor data, it also uses learned adaptive data. Over time, your ECM learns things about your specific engine, how your particular throttle body flows air, what your specific oxygen sensors read at ideal mixture, how your individual fuel injectors perform relative to each other. This learned data is stored in the ECM's memory and used alongside live sensor readings to fine-tune engine management. When it works correctly, this adaptive learning makes your engine run more efficiently and smoothly than factory calibration alone. But when that adaptive data becomes corrupted, outdated, or skewed by a faulty sensor that has since been replaced, it actively makes your engine run worse. That's when the reset becomes your best friend. The button, what it is, and where to find it. Let's get to the button itself. The button that resets your Acura's computer isn't actually a single button on your dashboard. It's your battery's negative terminal. Specifically, the act of disconnecting and reconnecting it in a specific sequence while performing specific actions is what triggers the complete computer reset. But there's also a secondary method using buttons inside the car that performs a partial reset without touching the battery. Let me give you both methods so you have options depending on your situation. Method 1. The full computer reset, battery method. This is the complete reset that clears everything: adaptive fuel trim data, idle learned values, throttle position baseline, transmission shift adaptation, all of it. Here's the exact procedure. Step 1. Make sure your engine is completely cold, or at least cooled down for 30 minutes. Performing this on a hot engine can cause issues with the cooling system sensors relearning at incorrect temperatures. Step 2. Turn the ignition completely off and remove the key. Step 3. Open the hood and locate the negative battery terminal. It's the black cable with the minus sign. Step 4. Using a 10mm wrench, loosen the negative terminal clamp and carefully remove the cable from the battery post. Move it to the side where it can't accidentally contact the battery. Step 5. Now, here's the critical step that most people skip. and that makes this reset truly complete. Press and hold the brake pedal firmly for 30 full seconds. This drains the residual electrical charge stored in capacitors throughout your Acura's electrical system. Without this step, some modules retain their memory even with the battery disconnected. Step 6. While the battery is still disconnected, turn your headlights on for 10 seconds, then off. This drains any remaining charge from the lighting circuits. Step 7. Wait a full 10 minutes with everything disconnected. This is non-negotiable. Less time means some modules may not fully clear their memory. Step 8. Reconnect the negative terminal. Make sure it's tight. A loose connection will cause intermittent electrical problems that are incredibly frustrating to diagnose. Step 9. Don't start the engine yet. Turn the ignition to the on position without starting and let it sit for 30 seconds. This allows all modules to initialize and communicate with each other before the engine starts. Step 10. Start the engine. Your computer has been completely reset, but we're not done yet. What you do in the next 20 minutes is just as important as the reset itself. If you want the complete guide to every reset procedure, every maintenance interval, and every system in your Acura, I've created a 500,000-mile car maintenance blueprint specifically for Acura owners. The link is in the description. Grab your copy now and have everything in one place. Method 2. The partial reset. No tools required. Here's the button-based method that works for less severe issues. This method doesn't clear everything, but it resets specific systems and is useful when you don't want to lose radio presets, navigation data, and other personalized settings that a full battery disconnect erases. For the throttle position reset, turn the ignition to on without starting. Press the gas pedal all the way to the floor slowly over 5 seconds. Hold it at the floor for 10 seconds. Release the pedal slowly over 5 seconds. Turn the ignition off. Wait 30 seconds. Start the engine normally. For the idle reset via the info button. On most Acuras, find the info or select button on your steering wheel or instrument cluster. Turn the ignition to on without starting. Press and hold the info button for 10 seconds. The instrument cluster will flash, indicating the system is resetting idle learn data. Release the button and start the engine. For the maintenance reminder reset, turn ignition to on. Press and hold select or info for 10 seconds while simultaneously pressing reset. The oil life or maintenance display will cycle and reset. These partial resets address specific systems without wiping everything. Use them for targeted issues. The relearn procedure. Why this is critical. Here's where most people make a crucial mistake after resetting their computer. They just start the car and drive normally. That's wrong. After a full computer reset, your ECM is like a newborn. It has zero learned data. It's running on base maps only. If you immediately drive aggressively, your engine will adapt to those conditions and set learned values that won't serve you well during normal driving. Here's the correct relearn procedure that programs your ECM with optimal values. Phase 1. The idle learn. 10 minutes. Start the engine and let it idle completely undisturbed. No AC, no radio, no accessories. Engine in park or neutral. Don't touch the gas pedal for a full 10 minutes. During this time, the ECM is learning the correct idle airflow, establishing baseline oxygen sensor readings, and calibrating the idle bypass valve. You might notice the idle hunting slightly up and down during this phase. That's normal. It's the ECM searching for the correct idle point. Phase 2. The city drive. 10 minutes. After the idle learn, drive gently through city streets for 10 minutes. Light acceleration from stops. Nothing above 40 miles per hour. No hard braking. This teaches the ECM your fuel trim values at low load and establishes correct part throttle fuel delivery. Phase 3. The highway learn. 10 minutes. Drive on a highway or open road for 10 minutes at a steady 55 to 65 miles per hour. Use cruise control if you have it. Constant speed high-speed teaching is more effective than variable speed. This establishes your highway fuel trim values and allows the oxygen sensors to complete their closed-loop learning at cruise conditions. Phase 4. The throttle learn, 5 minutes. During the final phase, do several gentle but progressive accelerations from 30 miles per hour to 60 miles per hour, not hard launches. Progressive, smooth acceleration to about 75% throttle. This teaches the ECM how your throttle body flows air under moderate to high demand conditions. After these 4 phases, your ECM has complete learned data across the full range of driving conditions. Total time, about 35 minutes. The difference between a properly relearned ECM and one that was just reset and driven normally is significant. Fuel economy, idle quality, and throttle response are all noticeably better with a proper relearn. What problems this reset actually fixes? Let me be specific about what the computer reset can and cannot fix. Problems the reset commonly resolves. Rough idle after battery replacement. When a battery is replaced, the ECM loses its learned idle data. Without relearning, idle can hunt or be unstable. The reset and relearn procedure fixes this. Sluggish throttle response. If your Acura feels less responsive than it used to, particularly after a tune-up or other maintenance, adaptive throttle data may have become skewed. A reset restores factory responsiveness. Transmission shifting differently. Your transmission control module also stores adaptive data. After a reset and relearn drive, shift points return to optimal factory calibration. Fuel economy that dropped without explanation. If your oxygen sensor was replaced, fuel trim data learned around the old sensor is now counterproductive. A reset lets the ECM learn fresh values around the new sensor. Check engine light returns immediately after clearing. Sometimes the ECM returns fault codes because it has stored freeze frame data that keeps triggering the same diagnosis. A full reset clears that freeze frame data. Poor idle after throttle. Body cleaning. Your throttle body changes the airflow characteristics the ECM learned. A reset lets it learn the new, correct characteristics. Problems the reset cannot fix. Mechanical failures. If your engine has worn rings, a reset won't help. Failed sensors that are still installed. The ECM will just learn incorrect data from the bad sensor again. Low fluids or maintenance items. A reset doesn't change your oil or refill your coolant. Hard fault codes caused by actual component failures. These will return after a reset if the underlying problem isn't fixed. This is an important distinction. The reset is for software and adaptive data issues, not mechanical problems. If your check engine light returns within the first drive cycle after a reset, you have a genuine mechanical or sensor issue that needs diagnosis. Special considerations for turbocharged Acuras. If you drive a turbocharged Acura, including the RDX TLX Type S or MDX Type S, there are additional considerations for the computer reset. Turbocharged Acura ECMs store boost control adaptive data alongside the standard fuel and ignition maps. After a full reset, your turbo system will also relearn boost control from scratch. During the relearn procedure, you might notice slightly less responsive boost delivery for the first 50 to 100 miles of driving. This is normal. The ECM is rebuilding its boost control strategy. Don't be alarmed if your turbocharged Acura feels slightly different the first few days after a reset. It's relearning. Also important, after resetting a turbocharged Acura, be especially gentle for the first 50 miles. Hard acceleration before the boost control is fully learned can cause the ECM to log knock events that skew your learned timing data in a negative direction. Gentle driving during the relearn period produces better long-term results. How often should you do this reset? Here's a question I get constantly. How often should you reset your Acura's computer? The answer: only when you have a reason to. This isn't a maintenance item you perform on a schedule. It's a diagnostic and correction tool you use when specific issues arise. Valid reasons to perform a full reset: after replacing the battery, after replacing oxygen sensors, MAF sensor or throttle body, after cleaning the throttle body, after any significant engine work, when experiencing rough idle, poor throttle response, or unusual shift behavior without a clear mechanical cause, after clearing a check engine light that keeps returning, invalid reasons to reset, just because some time has passed, because you think it might improve performance without any specific issue, because someone on a forum said it's a good idea every 30,000 miles. Random resets without cause actually disrupt properly learned adaptive data that's been calibrated over thousands of miles. Let your ECM build accurate adaptive data through proper driving. Only reset when the data has become corrupted or outdated. Protecting your settings before the reset. Here's a practical tip before you disconnect that battery. A full battery disconnect erases several personalized settings along with the ECM data. What you'll lose: radio station presets, navigation home and favorites addresses, Bluetooth pairing information, power seat memory positions, climate control preferences on some models, window auto up and anti-pinch calibration. Before resetting, write down or photograph your radio presets and navigation favorites. They take maybe 5 minutes to restore after the reset. For the window anti-pinch calibration, remember the reset procedure from our earlier video. Hold each window down for 3 seconds past fully open, then up for 3 seconds past fully closed. For seat memory positions, adjust your seat to your preferred position and resave to the memory button on your door. These are minor inconveniences compared to the benefits of a proper computer reset when it's needed. The bottom line: your Acura's computer is an incredibly sophisticated system that manages thousands of variables every second. When it's working with clean, accurate adaptive data, your engine runs at its absolute best. When that data becomes corrupted, outdated, or built around components that have since been replaced, it actively works against you. The reset and relearn procedure gives your ECM a clean slate. Fresh adaptive data built around your engine's current condition, optimal idle, fuel delivery, ignition timing, and shift points. And in many cases, resolution of problems that seem to require expensive repairs. This is one of the most powerful free tools available to any Acura owner. Use it when the situation calls for it. Follow the relearn procedure completely and give your ECM the time it needs to build accurate, optimal adaptive data. So there you have it, the complete guide to resetting your Acura's computer and relearning correctly. The full battery disconnect method that clears every module completely. The partial button-based resets for targeted issues without losing your settings. The 4-phase relearn procedure that programs optimal adaptive values. The specific problems this reset fixes and the ones it can't. Special considerations for turbocharged Acura models. When to reset and when not to. How to protect your settings before the procedure. None of this is complicated. It just requires knowing what to do and doing it in the right order. Now you know. And if you want the complete maintenance blueprint that pairs perfectly with this knowledge, covering every service interval, every fluid spec, and every procedure your Acura needs for 500,000 miles of reliable driving, I've put it all together in one comprehensive guide. Click the link in the description and get your copy now, because understanding your car at this level is exactly what separates the owners whose Acuras last forever from everyone else. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to watch this next video as we're sharing insider tips to help you cut repair costs and keep your car running like new.